contributions to the improvements of the public transportation sector. His passion and zeal are fueled by his desire not only to see a public transportation system that is safe and secure, but also one wherein the drivers are responsible, reliable, and professional. That was the thought behind this new initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, Minister of Transport and Mining, the Honorable Robert Montague.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me apologize for arriving late. So that means there's a bonus. I won't be talking too long. And I see Ms. Russ sigh of relief. Because when I get passionate about these things, I tend to talk a little bit over time. So let me greet members of the head table, the different partners that are here, RTNTA, the ITA, Island Traffic Authority, the Jamaica Automobiles Association, the various taxi associations. Let me especially acknowledge Mr. Blair in the house, the members of staff from the Transport Authority and from the Ministry of Transport and Mining. But let me also acknowledge the first cohort of the professional public transportation agents that are with us, the first 25. Then clap them, number now, this one. The first 25 of the trainees in this program. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the public passenger industry will tell you that what you have is a shortage of drivers in the industry. And as a result of that, it is basically a driver's market. The drivers dictate the terms, they do as they please, they break the law, and they leave one owner this morning and they turn up at the next one this afternoon because there's a shortage of drivers in the system. What we are trying to achieve is to correct the shortage, one, and two, also to improve the output of our professional public transportation agents. We would like to make driving into a career so that the owner, so that Mr. Blair, who is in the business so long, but he don't want to encourage his children to come in the business, I would like Mr. Blair to encourage his children to come into the public passenger industry. So it is now a career path. It is a choice. So we are starting with Kingston, with the first 30, Colonel, or 25? First 30 in Kingston, and we intend to do 30 initially in every parish, and I think we may put on a little troops onto the bigger parishes, so that we have a pool. Over time, we will have a pool of certified professional transport agents who will be able to safely carry your children and yourself about your business as you take whether the bus or the taxi. We have to be more professional as we look at this industry. We have started, and I think we have had huge success, Mr. Morgan, in getting the drivers in the main to wear their uniforms. As you go across the length and breadth of Jamaica, I'm told that the compliance rate is up in the low 90s. You still have one and two who still turn up in their merino and them slippers and turn up like them just wake up out of them bed and they're still driving. But the Transport Authority is at it day after day, and I believe that the change is coming. To change culturally takes time. And we have increased the enforcement team by 50 agents. We have 50 additional inspectors across the island, and they are doing, let me just make it known, as of this month, February, they'll be working on weekends and they'll be working at nights. Because a lot of the breaches take place on weekends and at nights. And if you can enforce that the man must wear his uniform at 1 a.m. in the morning, he will know that he must wear it at 11 a.m. in the morning. So we will be enforced, even when there's nobody else on the road and him want, we're going to enforce it. Because it must be a culture change. And therefore, in order to be more professional, it takes discipline and stick-to-itiveness. And we are determined to bring order to the public passenger industry. The 30 youngsters who will be in the program, they would have applied to HOPE, the HOPE program. HOPE would select the trainees based on their systems and interviews and evaluation. The trainees would then now be trained by an approved institution, an approved entity that the ITA, the Island Traffic Authority, has been approving under the new law, approving driver training entities. So we are only going to be utilizing island-wise those firms that are approved by the ITA. So the firm that is being used now will have been approved, and the Transport Authority is paying for every single trainee to do 25 lessons, Colonel? 25 1-hour lessons. And in addition, every trainee will get $1,000 per day of instruction. So every day of instruction, they get $1,000 if they turn up. If they don't turn up, they don't get no money, because there's no free lunch in my shop. So the $1,000 is due if you turn up and complete the lesson. So that is to help with bus fare and lunch. And that is why we are going to be putting persons in their parish where they live, so they don't have to travel far to undertake the program. Once they are in the program, those who would have had a driver's license, God bless them. But if they don't have, the program is so structured that you can come like Sister Bedward, don't have a driver's license, don't even have a learner's, nothing. We will apply through the ITA and the tax office for them to get a provisional license. And I have 5 provisional licenses for 5 of the trainees who would have done their road code tests, paid the necessaries, and would be ready to be provisional drivers. Then they attend the instructional class, 25 hours. Each class is for 1 hour, and they will do their training. One of the proposals I want to put to heart is that heart, as we roll on, should get more involved to even buy 13 cars, 1 for every parish. And that heart should, you have the money. Heart then should, you have the money, don't leave it in the bank and make those who are rich get richer. Heart was created to create opportunity for poor people picnic. And let us create the opportunity for poor people picnic. That is the purpose why I pay my heart every month. And heart was never designed for the money to stay in the bank and to grow interest, and as somebody says that the bank charge you to go get your own money. So use the money. Heart should have a balance of 0, because you would have used the money to advance opportunity for poor people picnic. That is the best investment, not in the bank. So I want platinum. So I want Heart to buy 13 vehicles, 1 vehicle per parish, properly outfitted, because we really don't outfit vehicles in Jamaica for learner drivers. The vehicle should have 2 steering columns, so the instructor can be on one side with control, so if the trainee decides to drive too fast, the instructor can slow it down. Properly shadow it, shadow your brake. So that is what I want her to do, 13 of these specialized vehicles, so that when we send a trainee on the road, we're not sending them to lose their life, and we're not endangering the instructor at the same time. So we need to take more care of our own people. If we were doing it for foreigners, we would have spent all kind of money. But when it comes on to treat with our own people, we hesitate. And just like how when I started to liberalize the industry, everybody quarreled. Too much illegal operators, too much robot criminality, all kinds of things. And we said, all right, we could clean it up. And we said, let us liberalize the thing. Open up the license so people can get license. We issued 14,000 new road licenses across the island, but none in Kingston. But here them ball out now. Montague, mash up this thing. Just issue a license, man. Just drive up and down and roll up bad driving on the road and all of that. You see, when poor people forget a bus in this country, it's a problem. But when rich people forget a bus, it is incentives. But when poor people forget a bus, something wrong with it. Well, this minister is going to continue to give poor people a bus. Because Jamaica belongs to them too. And the 14,000 new road licenses we issued is not enough. Because we have estimated that there are 20,000 robots in the system. And it is better to legitimize them and legalize them and bring them into the formal economy rather than have them a hustle at night and police are run them down. But they have children. They have to pay a light bill and they must pay a water rate because we don't want them to thief light and we don't want them to thief water and we want them to earn and earn legitimately and pay them taxes and become a part of the formal economy like any other Jamaican. So this minister will take the blows and the criticisms. Because if you don't get blows and criticism, you mean you don't do nothing. And Buster Manty will tell you, you know, stone fluxy man. So when those are criticizing me, I invite them to leave the stands and come onto the field of play. Because when one half criticizes you that you're doing this, the other half saying you should be doing it the other way. Until you leave the stands and get up off of your seat and leave your veranda and leave the Facebook and the Twitter and get into the field of play. That is what I want to invite people to get into the field of play. And that is why we have created and introduced apps to work and to help. So those who criticize the taxi man, and rightfully they should, because now the taxi man then drive like demon possessed. We want them to be a part of the system to correct the problem, not to just sit down and criticize. So download the Drive Safe app. And when a taxi man bad drive you, or you see him breaking the law, capture the information and send it to the right authorities so action can be taken. Sitting down and grumbling and complaining, not correcting anything. What I would like to see is that the 300,000 Jamaicans who drive in Kingston every day should become an agent of the Transport Authority to help to police our roads. If every driver would report every instance of bad driving, in 2 days, you wouldn't have no more bad driving. In 2 days, and I like this, 2 days, you wouldn't have no more bad driving. And therefore, I want to encourage everybody on your program, Colonel. Every trainee must download the Drive Safe app or go out there. It must be a requirement. They too must become policemen and women in their own way, in their quiet way, without anybody knowing. Because the Drive Safe app don't reveal who forward the information to the Transport Authority. So I want to invite all Jamaicans, those that love me and those that don't love me and those that are ambivalent, to download the Drive Safe app. And so far, we have had 1,700 downloads, I believe, because we are going through the procurement process to engage a PR firm. And that is why the take-up has not been better. But from that 1,700, Colonel, we have had to revoke 12 licenses. We have written 43 warning letters. And we have had 97 meetings with taxi persons who have been reported, bus and taxi operators who have been reported. It is working. But it can work much, 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 much better. And therefore, I want to encourage people to download the Drive Safe app. We are also going to be launching soon a driver training program, a driver training app, where we have gamified the driver, the curriculum. And persons who are in the business who are going to be applying for a PPV badge would have to either you undertake the formal training at Transport Authority or you do it on your phone on your own. But it is set like a game, so you can't move to the next level unless you would have completed the first level. We are going to launch in another couple of weeks the Travel Pal, which is a safety and security app for passengers and drivers. Because believe me, it's not only passengers threaten drivers, or drivers threaten passengers, passengers threaten drivers too. And many times the poor driver is there to earn an honest bread. Park up at the taxi stand and somebody take him taxi, and the next thing you know is a gun in him neck back. And I have to hand over him earnings. And let me tell you, the earnings out there not easy. So he needs protection because he's also a Jamaican. So let us not forget that. And therefore, the Travel Pal, a part of one of the features of that app, it has a panic button. So that if a passenger is in a bus or a taxi and believe that the bus or a taxi going in the wrong place, come off the route, or feel threatened, you just hit the panic button. And that button will alert the police because it's going to be tied to 119. The driver as well. If the driver of the vehicle feel threatened, they too can hit the panic button and summon help. The app will allow you to open up a mic, the phone, the mic on the phone, so that the police can hear what is happening in the cab if you are being threatened. So we are taking safety and security of the passenger and the driver seriously. In addition to that, the passenger, once you get into a cab, you can just press a button and your position is automatically sent to a friend. And the friend would know where you're going, so the estimated time of arrival will be sent to your friend. In other words, Mr. Morgan takes a cab in Papine. He goes into the cab and he presses the button on his phone. It sends the thing to Colonel. So Colonel knows that Mr. Morgan would have entered a cab at 9:15 at Papine. And he knows Mr. Morgan is going to Half-Tree, and the estimated arrival will be given to Colonel. Colonel can either call Mr. Morgan at 9:20, or Mr. Morgan calls him and he knows that he's safe. If certain time pass, Mr. Morgan don't call in or Colonel can't find him, you know something is wrong. So it will allow you to increase the safety. Now, it will also allow some amount of tracking of the well, it tracks the phone. Can't track the person because if they take away your phone, is the phone it really tracking. So it will be able to track the phone as to where you are while you are traveling. So the Travel Pal is to increase safety in the industry. We are going one step further in the Transport Authority because this month, February, we are also moving for Transport Authority to go cashless. So you will be now, can walk up to Transport Authority with a big bag of money. Your brother Blair, when you come in to renew the 35 Coaster that you own and the 40 cars that you alone own, you don't have to carry any cash. We're going cashless. So there you use your debit card, your credit card, you pay at Paymaster, Bills Express, or NCB or Scotia, and you carry the voucher and we process. So we go in cashless. And we want to encourage the operators also to go cashless, because if everybody knows there's no money in the cab, it doesn't make no sense to hold it up. So we are starting at Transport Authority and we are going cashless. But let it be clearly understood. We're going cashless, but it still means you still have to pay. Because some people will say the minister said they go cashless so they can renew your license without cash. So let me be very clear. I mean, come from country and I know some of we think. We're going cashless, we won't be collecting cash. So no more 5,000 bill and $1,000 bill and $100 bill and $500 bill. Or the coins, with no more cold hard cash. You have to pay with your credit card, your debit card, or you go to Paymaster or Bills Express or NCB or Scotia. And as we bring more partners on, once you put in the money, you take the receipt and we process. We're also going a little further. That as of this month, February, we are going to start the online renewal portal. But it's not for route taxis yet. So Brother Blair and all the persons in the public passenger vehicle will be able to stay at home, sit down at home, take up them smartphone or them tablet. Brother Blair can go on him Apple computer, go on to our portal, put in the required information, get your license renewed, and him just swipe him credit card, and we take him money, and we send him the renewal. Nice, easy, and simple. The days of requiring Mr. Blair to leave his business, to come bungle up for one whole day in the offices, while Miss Patterson down there try to treat him good. But the law in Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen, require that the 74,000 green plates, commercial license, and the 38,000 red plates all must be renewed in the month of March. It put pressure on the staff, and it put pressure on our customers and clients. When you have to bungle up at the Transport Authority office, when 10,000 people turn up at, say, Swansea, where Brother Blair would go, in that one little space, no matter how the air condition cold, it going pack up, it going create argument, it going create fuss, and it encourages corruption. Because somebody is going to look behind the staff and see one of my staff members and try to offer them a bribe in order to cut the line for them process their things faster. We are here to make it easier and more comfortable for people to do business. Our licensees are in the business of moving passengers, and we want to give them maximum time to do what they are to do so that they can pay us and don't owe us. So we don't want them to waste 8 hours in an office. So we are moving to amend the law so that they will be able to renew in the month of their birth. So that you don't have to bungle up 100,000 persons in 1 month. We can spread it over time, and it also makes for better cash flow. So, Mr. Russell, I hear that it is now in your hands, legal department, and you need to hurry up so I can go to Parliament to have the law amended. And Brother Blair, before I leave, let me assure you on 2 points publicly. The same amendments that Sister Russell is pushing, because we're almost there to carry it to Parliament, is the whole matter of the taking up of taxis and buses by wrecker. The law currently says the constable or the inspector may seize if a vehicle is running contrary. But the officers and the JCF officers and the transport authorities, Brother Blair, they don't say the word may. Them just seize. So we are going to amend the law to replace the seizure with a ticketing regime. And it's a simple reasoning. I see the journalists start to ask me and shake her head and say, why? Simple. The amount of corruption that is involved in the wrecking of people's vehicles. Them take up the people's vehicle, and as you go around the corner, a man call you and say, if you pay your money, they will drop off your vehicle. Sometimes they seize the vehicle and don't reach the pound. And you're going to hear after this, you know, after you publish what I just said, you hear some people say, no go so. But everybody knows that I saw it go. That happened to me already. So me know. And me report it. But that time I wasn't minister. Them seize a pickup for me in Ochi. And before I reach the station, my driver get a call. That if him pay X amount of money under the tree at a certain place to a certain man, the vehicle can drop. So we know it go. So I know it go. So I am here to mash down them things there. And that is why sometimes they don't like me. But when you give the reasoning behind it, the man's taxi or his bus is his tool of trade. Your tool of trade is your recorder and your pen. If you are driving your vehicle and you don't have on your seatbelt, the police ticket you for the seatbelt. They don't seize your tool of trade. When the doctor is driving without a seatbelt, he gets a ticket. They don't seize his bag with him instrument and him stethoscope, we call it trumpet a country. They don't seize that. When the teacher is driving without a seatbelt, they don't seize their dust and chalk. You get a ticket. So the taxi or the busman's vehicle is his tool of trade. When you take what the man tool of trade, how he must earn to pay the ticket. That's additional burden upon poor people. If you are dealing with traffic offenses, ticket the man. You don't have him any ticket $1. You can make the ticket so high that him know and don't run contrary. How me sound, Brother Blair? Yes. Sound good? Yes. Good. So don't run contrary. So that is the reasoning behind it. Because sometimes when you over-regulate, you open up the door to corruption and to corrupt public officers. And we are saying, let us make it easy, but prohibitive, punitive, so that the person conforms. Because we are about cleaning up the system, not about giving the industry of corruption an opportunity to open up a new branch. And there's a lot of corruption in the seizure of poor people vehicles, whether taxi or others, and we have to tackle it, and we have to acknowledge it. But a lot of people don't want to acknowledge it. And the second thing, Brother Blair, we're doing, the third thing rather, is the trackers. So for this licensing period, those who are new in the business must put on a tracker. Those who are renewing are not required right now for a tracker. And the reason is, because of the travel pal, we want to be very precise with your location. So when you hit that panic button, the police must know exactly where you are. And when you look at the commercial maps, the digital maps that are available, they are not 100% exact. So you may put on your locator on your phone now. You are at 138H Maxfield Avenue, but it may tell you that you are at 130 Maxfield Avenue. So those couple seconds that the police may have to come search for you might be critical if a man have a knife at your throat. So we want to be very precise with the location, and what we have asked the Transport Authority to do is to work with the route taxi and the hackney carriage companies, and we will put on trackers on a number of vehicles right across the island so that we can fine-tune and upgrade the data that we have to make the maps more precise, especially in rural Jamaica. Because remember, where I come from, we don't have no street name. You know, we live up the road and we live down the bottom and we live across the river. So we must be precise. So when a person hit that button, you only look on the map, you see Gale, and the next thing you see is Windsor Castle. And that is 7 miles. And on the maps, they don't see Donington and Coxpeace and Newark. So we need to be very precise. And as you know, in upper country, you have one lane go up there, so and you have one trail go around there, so, and one donkey track go down the line. So we need to be precise. So when you hit the panic button, the police know exactly where you are. So we are going to be using the time, Mr. Blair, and collaborate with some of your members, and we will put on the trackers for those who volunteer for the program so we can update the data set so that we can be very precise with the information. The period for licensing begins the 17th of February. So we anticipate much more persons coming in. And another thing we want to push, Brother Blair, I don't know if we'll be ready for the 17th. I have asked the Transport Authority to make it easier on long-standing operators in the business. A man who is running in the business for 30 years, 25 years, he should not be held to the same standards as a little just come wet foot. If you know a person for the last 30 years you're doing business with, you know him. So why should you put him through the grinder if you go tell you when granny name and when auntie name and Mr. Morgan have a farm where you have to fill out? Him want to know who is your first grandmother boyfriend and when she did married and with the past name that married her, and police must verify it, and you need 5 recommendations of persons 10 years older than you and all them something. Not necessary. You are doing business with this person for the last 30 years, man. Good God Almighty, man. You must know the person by then. So we don't have to make it so difficult. But the little fresh foot will just come like Colonel. Just apply 1 year now. We're not so sure about him. So we want a police record on him. Because we carry poor people picnic and we carry people, young children, we go to school. So we want to know him background and we want him fingerprint and we check him out and in DNA and we turn him upside down and measure him and all them things. So if anything, we know who we go look for. But a person who is in the business for a long time, we need to allow that person a little slack. Because you know the person. And the banks tell you, boy, you must know your customer. We know the man 30 odd years in the business. So we don't have to be so harsh, Mr. Morgan, and the person in the business. So we must allow people to grow in the business. Because my dream is that Mr. Blair, within the next 5 years, mustn't be talking only about taxi and bus. Mr. Mr. Blair must be talking about helicopter and plane. As a part of transportation, Mr. Blair must be offering Blair's tours and transport. And Mr. Blair must be offering excursions going to Negril and him flying me from Tinsenpen down. And it don't have to be no big plane, it can be a pilotless plane, it can be a drone, because that's where we're going. I want to see the taxi and bus operators getting to courier service. And they do, they're already into courier. Especially rural taxi men. Because the lady stop you and say, driver, you go down and shop? Yes. But just stop down at Mr. Lou shop there and buy 2 pounds of flour for me or buy 1 cylinder for me and carry it up. And they do it as a service, they're not charged for it. That's courier servicing. And I want to, and there are a lot of bus and taxi operators who have keys, people key to them house, who take up the children, many children in the morning at 7:30. Drop the child at school, come out of the vehicle and walk that child across the road and ensure the child is properly into school. Pick them up into the evening and know where the key there, under the mat or under the flowers, and pull it and make sure the child go in. Hundreds of taxi operators do that every day. Hundreds. And some people wouldn't give Colonel the key. And him is an army trained man. But then give it to a taxi man. So we have the very good and we have the very bad. Because there are a lot of taximen that also carry criminal and knowingly do it and don't report it. And our job is to weed out those that they don't give bad name to the good ones. And the beautiful thing I've discovered is that you have 10 times more good ones than bad ones. But it's the bad one get show up. Because you know the bad one then come in like one little something my mother used to tell me about, that only come on your white shirt, white jacket, color. The older people will know what I talk about. What name? Okay. Only show up themselves when you properly dress in church. It's the one little something start crawl on your white color. So we want to get rid of the bad taxi and bus drivers in the business who are giving a bad name. And I want to appeal to every bus and taxi operator that they have a responsibility to road safety in this country. And we must all come together. Because I have decided to take on road safety. Because they're blaming me for everything. And since them start blaming me for it, I am going to take it on. And take it on with full ministerial authority. Because 400 and odd Jamaicans dying on our roads is not a joke. Serious business. And not only the 430 who have died, that is painful, is those who are maimed and disabled as a result of an accident. Can you imagine an 8-year-old child with a broken spine have to be in bed for the rest of their life, another 30, 40 years? Have to be constantly cared for. At whose expense? And if they're traveling in a rowboat, the family have nothing to get. And that is painful. And many of the young persons that sit around the back there have plenty of friends now. And worse when them get them driver's license and go back get a car. That time they go and have friend. But you wait till they meet an accident and can't move. The friend come one time and may come back the second time. And then all of a sudden, it's a burden for the friend come look for you. And you're left with your family to take care of you. So road safety is not a joke. It's a serious business, and that is why Transport Authority spent $27.3 million yesterday and buy 9 vehicles. And I told Mr. Morgan that the back and the front of the vehicles I want for road safety messages. And we have put messages on them. And I told this morning in a meeting with JUTC that any bus that don't have no ad on it, I want the back of that bus for a road safety message. I am taking this thing serious and I'm going to pass the information. Because a lot of information is out there, but people are not taking it serious. Because every man that rides a bike knowing that he must use a helmet. But he still jump on the bike without the helmet. And when he crash and go to a hospital, he turn around and cuss Dr. Tuft and say him not provide enough bed at the hospital, he have to wait long. And if he did wear a helmet, him wouldn't be at the hospital if he knows that you have to wait long in hospital. And plenty of us know that we must put on the seatbelt. And we don't put on the seatbelt. All this nice young, my cousin there, and nice pink tie and him white shirt, him said the seatbelt nasty up the white shirt. Well, it is better the seatbelt nasty up the white shirt and you turn up there than be put you in a box in a nice white shirt with a nasty up. It will be the last time we see you. So I want to encourage Mrs. Russell thinking. I want Ms. Russell to continue thinking. Because Sister Russell, can you imagine if you should pass untimely in a road accident? What would happen to your children? Your young children? Can you imagine that your mate you're moving in your yard? Huh? Sit down in your settee where you work so hard for buy? I walk up and down all and use your bubble bath in your own bathroom that you just refurbished? Where you work so hard for? And Ms. Russell, sometimes the mate is sometimes all your best friend who have bad mind your long time for your husband, you know. So we have to begin to take this thing seriously. So before I sit down, I would like to invite the following trainees to come and to get their provisional driver's license. So that we want to remind persons that when you apply for a learner's license now, you have to do a road code test. And we are happy that we could facilitate these 5 youngsters. Mr. Henry is here from IT, and I want to thank you for being a partner in the program. So I want to invite Chanel Sylvester, Ricardo Plummer, Dorothy Burton, Tasha Gay Rose, and Kemar Webb. And before they move, before you 5 move, just hold on. Can I ask all the trainees to stand so we can see you? Now, ladies and gentlemen, what is remarkable, Mr. Cross, what is remarkable about this class of trainees is that the majority of them are female. And in my discussions with Colonel, I was very deliberate that I need more female drivers in the public passenger industry, because females have a better sense of care. And people believe that this is a male-dominated industry. Well, this is one glass partition I want to break down. I don't want a female break it. I want to break it myself. So we will be encouraging more and more females to come into the business. As a matter of fact, Mr. Morgan, when I leave here, I'm having a meeting with a company who is launching an online platform, an Uber-type service that only will be using female drivers. So I want to encourage our females that they must come into the industry. Because when you see a female bus or a taxi driver, it's lots of a lady that. I want it to become normal. I want it to become the norm and not the exception. So thank you very much. So can the 5 come forward? The rest can be seated. So Chanel Sylvester, Ricardo Plummer, from the Colonel, and Mr. Ike, Dorothy Burton, Tasha Gay Rose, and Kemar Webb. Getting them provisional, them learners, Mrs. Moran. Who is Chanel? Who is Chanel? Come on. Smiling up. Ricardo Plummer. The TV man. Smiling about it. And Dorothy Burton. I know you named Dorothy Burton last. Dorothy not there? She's there? Okay, Dorothy. Alright, Sister Dar. Smile over. Tasha Gay Rose. Come on. You need to what you want that you want. You know that. One like your food. When I want to have a time in your hand and sweat. If you open your envelope, you will realize that you're going to have to come back to the same and read.